Okay, welcome to the Pro Audio Showcase here in Auckland, New Zealand. We're at Victory Church, and I want to talk to you a little bit today about the Behringer X32 Compact. So this is the slightly smaller version of the full-size X32, as you can probably tell, although operationally it's very much the same as the full-sized X32. It's just got a little bit less I/O, by which I mean inputs and outputs. But in terms of the operation, it's in fact exactly the same. So yeah, moving around to the back of the console, you can see we've got 16 mic line inputs and 8 Omni outputs, plus another, that's 8 Omni outs on balanced XLR, and then you've got another 8 outputs on a mixture of jack and RCA. It's possibly the best bang for buck in terms of DSP value for $1. So this retails in New Zealand for $3,899, which is quite a remarkable price point when you consider all the effects that you have on board. So you've got rafts of effects. You can just see a small portion of the effects that are available by scrolling through. You can basically, you've got from the input channel strip, you've got recallable gain, you've got 4-band parametric EQ with a separate high-pass filter, you've got DCA groups, you've got assignable keys, you've got 6 separate mute groups. So you've got a whole raft of processing that you might otherwise, in an analog concept, you'd probably have to have a whole stack of outboard gear. So $3,899 New Zealand dollars is actually a remarkably low price point for all that DSP in such a small compact package. If you compare that with the TF5 over here, the TF is actually the larger of the family of 3 TF consoles available from Yamaha. It's a rather different concept. So instead of having quite as many knobs and tactile controls, it's very much screen-based. So you can use the screen to navigate around, to navigate to the channel you want to deal with, and then you simply touch on what you want to look at in more detail, and then you've got what we call the touch and turn knob, which then basically gives you control of whatever you touch. And so I can use the home key, the little picture of the house at the bottom of the screen there, to take me back to the overview page, and I can look at the EQ in more detail if I wish. And because this is a multi-touch screen, I can use pinch movements to narrow down the Q or the bandwidth of the frequencies that we're dealing with. We've also got one knob features, basically in order to make life easier for people who are less used to using digital desks or any kind of mixing consoles generally. So it reverts to intensity mode as soon as we deploy the one knob. There's another mode in which this works as well, which is called vocal mode, and if I set it into vocal mode, I can actually just simply start turning the touch and turn knob, and as I turn the touch and turn knob up, what it does is it immediately engages a high-pass filter, and then as I keep turning the knob, it starts to pull some more energy out at about the sort of centered around the 400 hertz mark, and as I keep on winding the touch and turn knob up, so it boosts a little bit of 6K on a nice wide Q, and that then rolls into the mid-range more. So anywhere on that spectrum is a very valid and very useful vocal EQ. And if at any stage you decide that actually you want to tweak something with a bit more, you need to specifically get to one particular frequency, you can just turn one knob off and then make the necessary adjustments. So this is a console that's really primarily targeted towards occasional users of audio consoles. It's got a whole raft of features that are really fantastic for people who don't use mixers on a regular basis. So there's a whole heap of profiles in the desk already. There are collaborations with Shure, Sennheiser and Audio-Technica, and a whole raft of generic EQs for various musical instruments and voices in order to get you started. It's at a slightly higher price point, so the retail value of the TF5 is $7,095 in New Zealand dollars. But I should also point out there is a TF3, which would be actually more closely akin to the X32 Compact we've just looked at. And indeed there's a TF1, which is the 16-channel version, rack mountable. Again, expandable up to 40 channels, but yeah, a smaller form factor.